Rockets are looking. I am not late. It's 1 o'clock. Bracket time! This is classic, slightly biased here, guys. The amount of time, effort, energy I spent researching this bracket, just stupid. The stuff I do for you guys, really. The stuff I do for you guys. Welcome back. I told you guys that we were going to be a bit of a inconsistent schedule over the next few weeks, just because I don't really know what to talk about. With that being said, I'm trying to decide what to do for the FIBA World Cup, because I'm super interested. Can't wait. Very excited. Trying to decide if I want to get these fucking ads out of my face. Trying to decide if I want to stream them. A little bit concerned, admittedly. A little bit concerned about copyright stuff and whatnot. But I really do want to watch it. But also the games start at like 3 in the morning. So like, What's the temperature for 3 in the morning start times? Are we waking up early or staying up late? What's the strategy there? I feel like either way, you're doomed. So FIBA World Cup starts on Friday. Yeah, staying up feels like the best. I mean, I guess it just kind of depends on who you are, huh? Watching the Lebanon game at 4:15 a.m. So it starts 3 a.m. Oh God, what time is this? What time is that? Let's see. FIBA World Cup schedule. Okay, 3 o'clock in the morning. Angola and Italy is the first game. Finland, Australia. That's fun, actually. Finland, Australia. That's a really good opening game. Of course, the Aussies, Mavericks, we've got some. We've got some Aussies on the squad. Mexico, Montenegro, Latvia versus Lebanon. Is Bertans playing in this? I forgot. Obviously, KP's not, but Dominican Republic versus Philippines. Oh, some of these games aren't bad at all. 8:30 in the morning. We could easily do that. Canada and France. And then Slovenia plays Saturday, 6:30 in the morning. Slovenia versus Venezuela. And that's followed immediately by United States versus New Zealand. Oh, God. 6:30 in the morning, huh? Whew. What do they get, like 2 days off in between games? Slovenia really should have no problem whatsoever advancing in their group. All of their games are at 6:30 a.m. Do I do that? Now that's the question. Do I do that? That feels extreme. Admittedly. What up, Doomer? You tweet out that I'm live. And then we'll just get into the shits. Like I don't have much time to waste today. This is the bracket that we're working with. You guys know the drill. I'll start the tournament here. Share it. You guys can vote. So I would actually, I wouldn't vote yet if I were you guys. Actually, I'm not going to share it yet. I wouldn't vote yet. So the idea behind today's stream, we're picking the best all-time NBA team. So I went through, spent way too much time going through each and every franchise, the 30 franchises in the NBA right now, figuring out what their all-time team was, compiling them, and roughly seeding them. Like oh wait, I don't have the chat box up, my bad. I didn't spend like too much time on it. When is slightly round coming? Rangers are bad again, so I think you missed the hype train, sadly. I was planning on watching playoff games. But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna fucking make the playoffs, so slightly round's a pipe dream, man. I don't have the time right now. I don't have the time to put them as much effort as I would like into this channel, let alone start a full-fledged baseball channel. Even though it would be fun. But I was fully planning on playback at bare minimum. Going live and watching like playoff baseball games, but I don't know if they're going to fucking make it, guys. I don't know if they're going to make it. Oh, speaking of streaming, it's official, guys. You're going to want to follow my Twitch. You're going to want to follow my Twitch. Starfield comes out next week. You're going to want to follow me on Twitch. That's all I'll say. So anyway, sorry, off track yet again. I just went through, figured out, all right, who was the best, what's the best all-time team for each franchise? Only going off of the players' performance while they were on said team. So I had people on Twitter ask me like, oh, does this mean like, for like the Boston Celtics, Shaq spent whatever, like half a season there. Does that mean the Celtics would get prime Shaq? No, of course not. It's just based off of their performance, their play, whenever they were on the team, on the franchise, okay? I went through for each and every team. Again, it took me way too fucking long to do all of this. I should have just not done it, but I have some type of mental disorder. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what it is, but I can't quite figure it out myself. Live right now. Best all-time NBA team bracket. Letting you choose the winners. Get the hell in here. Also talking minor Mavericks news. And also talking minor Mavericks news and athletic tier list. Because people are freaking out about the athletic tier list. I gotta figure out what's going on there. Twitch is more friendly when it comes to streaming NBA games too, I believe. I like YouTube more than Twitch. I like everyone's on YouTube. I don't want to like up and leave. I don't want to up and leave. So yeah, that's the idea behind this bracket. Ignore the seeds. Like I roughly seeded them. That way we didn't get like the Lakers and Celtics in the second round. Or like the Pistons versus the 76ers in the first round. But it's not like it matters too much. Looking for the Slightly Biased lives when training camp starts. I'm excited, man. Anytime I feel like the season's right around the corner, I'll see a tweet and it'll be like 55 days until tip off. And I'm like, fucking 55? Like, damn. In my brain, it's like 3 weeks away. NFL season's 2 weeks away. I'm not gonna lie. There's a tiny little feeling of excitement in my stomach when I think about the NFL season starting. But let me explain why though. It has nothing to do with the NFL, which I think is garbage. It's because I associate NFL with fall, with the holiday seasons. It has nothing to do with the league itself, which I think again is fucking garbage. So, just letting that be known. Okay, brief little Mavericks news. Skipping class to watch this. That's smart. You're going places. Brief Mavericks news from yesterday. Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks are planning to stretch and waive center JaVale McGee and re-sign forward/center. Okay, interesting. Markieff Morris, sources tell The Athletic and Stadium. I think Mark Stein said this first. JaVale getting stretched and waived was always going to happen. So not too shocking there. Obviously, unfortunate. Didn't work out. It didn't work out for Mr. JaVale McGee. Unfortunate. What's with the fucking shadow? What the hell is going on? Do I need to be like, does the camera need to be more centered? What the fuck is transpiring? Boom. No. Is that better? So anyways, shocked that Markieff Morris is back. I was not. Markieff Morris coming back to the Mavericks was not something I was expecting at all. But I don't really care one way or the other, actually. Saw a lot of people freaking out about this, and I can't quite understand why, because it feels so unimportant and like, who gives a fuck? Am I crazy? Am I crazy for not caring about this at all? Stretching and waiving JaVale, I guess, is kind of embarrassing. That was a failure of an experiment. People want Usman Garuba, dude. I don't think people watch him. He is not an NBA basketball player, man. Like he stinks. Like he actually stinks. I was interested in him going into the draft, by the way. But he is bad. I guess if you want to think like, oh, well, I'd rather like Markieff Morris isn't going to do anything for us, so I'd rather just like take the stab at a young guy who was a first round pick not that long ago. But like, I'm really not that interested in him. Freaking out over a 10 through 15 bench guy is absurd. I mean, this isn't even 10 through 15. This is literally like 15. I don't know. So the JaVale McGee signing was a huge disaster. In hindsight, obviously. And I'm not going to lie. I liked the signing at the time. I'll stand by it. It made sense in my head. You know, you give him $6 million a year. The player option was kind of shitty. But, you know, whatever. I don't think it like rendered you from doing anything. I don't think it was like a bad contract that forced your hand into doing moves you didn't want to do. So, you know, didn't work out, whatever. In the moment it was asked. See, I disagree. I've seen people like some people thought it was, to be fair. Like there were people who definitely thought it was a dumbass signing. I thought it made some sense on paper. And again, I don't think it's a move that prevented you from doing anything. So it doesn't really bother me in hindsight either. I wish the process was better. It felt like last offseason, it felt like people were not on the same page in the Mavericks organization, which is strange. You know, like they traded for Christian Wood and Kidd hated him, and you know what? You know, he's about to be on his 8th team in 8 years. So, you think JaVale bounces back on another team? Oh, he'll get picked up by someone for sure. Like, what do you mean about bouncing back though? Like, is he going to have like a great season? No. I've seen people freak out about this. Best shooting guards of 2023 by tier. What's going on here? Devin Booker in a class of his own among shooting guards. That's true. I think that's completely and totally fair. Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Kyrie, Bradley Beal in tier 3. Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal. We ready to just fully dive into Anthony Edwards being better than Kyrie, like just straight up? Are we like ready to? Are we just accepting that? I don't know if I am. I don't know if I'm ready to accept that. I like Anthony Edwards a lot. I'm not even going to say pump the brakes on Anthony Edwards. I think he's stardom is rapidly approaching him. Don't know if I could. I mean, they're in the same tier, so it's not like it fucking matters. But like, bro, the hype Ant was getting after that US game was insane. I mean, but Anthony Edwards is that guy though. Like, Anthony Edwards is that guy. So I don't really mind the hype. The Team USA stuff is so funny to me because it's especially true with Team USA because you have so much NBA talent on there. Every fan base, every like team's fan base of a player who's on Team USA thought like their player was going to be the guy. And it's funny too because it's especially true for Pelicans fans and Brandon Ingram stands. They thought Brandon Ingram was going to get like 22 shots a game. They thought BI was going to get 22 shots a game and he was going to be the guy and he was going to be the best player on Team USA. Am I ready? I'm kind of ready to go. Let me watch my words. No, actually, no, fuck it. I'm getting ready to like push the overrated button a little bit on BI. It's weird to say overrated because like who's really overrating him, but I feel like reality does not match the perception for some people when it comes to Brandon Ingram. He's a good player, and that's just kind of that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just being a good player who's like, you know, some things go his way, and, you know, this guy gets hurt or something, and he's in the All-Star game. There's nothing wrong with that. CJ McCollum, Desmond Bane, Derek White, Tyrese Maxey, Austin Reeves. CJ McCollum was ass last season. Like, he was terrible. And the direction his career is heading in would concern me. God, I guess today's just hate the Pelicans day. The direction his career's headed in would scare me if he were on my team and I was paying him as much as he's getting paid. Okay, so Zach LaVine's I'm assuming they have Darius Garland at point guard. They have Donovan Mitchell at, well, Darius Garland is a point guard. I don't mind them putting SG. Is there a way I could see this full tier list? Athletic NBA player tiers. Here we go. Luka, Ingram, Kyrie, perfect core. Someone's got to be playing defense. I'm sorry to say. Someone's got to be playing defense. What? What is this godforsaken list? Giannis, KD, and LeBron in the top 3? Wait, no, you're not escaping me that easily. Oh, 2021. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I just almost had a brain aneurysm. Do I not have an athletic thing? I thought I did. I gotta see this. I have to see this list. So where is Zach LaVine? I mean, are they like counting him as a small forward maybe? Because he's got to be on this list. I don't mind Austin Reeves' inclusion, to be honest with you. I really don't have a problem with Austin Reeves' inclusion. I think he's really good. I actually think he's really good. But over Zach LaVine, though, no chance. I mean, Tyrese Maxey over Zach LaVine. Sorry, but no fucking way. The Tyrese Maxey stuff has gotten a little out of control at times. Derek White over Zach LaVine. No shot in hell. No shot in hell is that true. All right, NBA player tiers 2023. Here we go. They're not just like is there just not like a list? Tier 1, Giannis, Steph, Jokic. Okay. So they have KD as a tier 1, or Luka as a tier 1 star, but not in the same tier as Jokic, Steph, and Giannis. I think that's okay. You know. Embiid, KD. I think Luka's better than both of those guys pretty comfortably. Not comfortably, but you get what I'm saying. Ja Morant. Oh, wow. That's high for Jamal Murray, dude. That's high for Jamal Murray. Tier 2? We think Jamal Murray's a tier 2 level star player. Like same tier as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? No fucking chance. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Well, on this list, they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a shooting guard. Oh my God, they actually do have Zach LaVine below Austin Reeves. Oh my God, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. They actually have Zach LaVine under Austin Reeves. What? Jamal over Trey. Listen, guys. Any Trey Young people out there, Hawks fans out there, what up, B-Dot? You guys are going to want to watch my video tomorrow. A big video is dropping tomorrow. A video that has taken me multiple days to edit. I'm excited about it. Oh my God. They got Clay in tier 5. Below KCP. I'm here for it. I'm actually here for it. I'm actually here for that. To be honest with you. Damn, Jalen Green. Come on, bro. It's time. I'm a believer in you, Jalen Green. You're better. Come on. You got to prove you're better than Gary Payton. Okay? You need to prove that you are better than Gary fucking Payton. In what world is Jalen Green not better than Benedict Mathurin? Or Terry Rozier? Okay. That's enough of that. All right, if you guys haven't liked the stream yet, make sure you do so. Helps me out tremendously. Lets YouTube know we're having a great time, of which we are. It's time to get into this bracket. I'm excited about this one, honestly. Time to get into this bracket. How do we... Oh. Paste this. You guys know the drill. You can participate in this bracket just by registering on the challenge website. It's free. You just have to make an account. And you guys will vote on these matchups. I have a Google Docs right here. So we will go over each matchup. I'll mention the teams briefly. And then we'll decide. As you can see, the Lakers and the Celtics have a first round bye. I feel like that's just, obviously the two most storied franchises in the history of the NBA. But there's some other really great teams, man. They're like, some of these teams really shocked me with how impressive their all-time rosters were. Okay. So are we ready? Yes or no? Yay or nay? Last time was the best defender bracket? Yeah. No. Last time was the best young core bracket, which I let you guys be the decider of. And the Minnesota Timberwolves had a Cinderella run to the final. We really rode the Anthony Edwards wave all the way. Defying all odds. Truthful Cinderella run. Today, we're back. One vote. Get fucking serious, guys. Get serious. Click the link. Let's go. Utah Jazz, Atlanta Hawks as the first matchup. Is an interesting one, actually. It's a pretty interesting one. So, the Hawks, they have some good players. I went with Trae Young as the point guard. Just think he's the best point guard in their franchise history. It's either him or like Jeff Teague, pretty much. Or like Pistol Pete, who I don't even think was in his prime in Atlanta. Only 2 All-Star games for Trae. And 1 All-NBA team. That feels kind of nuts. Again, stay tuned tomorrow. Joe Johnson as the shooting guard. Underrated career, very much so. 7 seasons with Atlanta, 6 All-Star games. 20 points per game. Dominique Wilkins, obviously. Hall of Famer. The human highlight reel. 9-time All-Star, 1-time scoring champ. 26.5 points per game. Bob Pettit, Hall of Famer. 2-time MVP. Played back when it was fucking black and white outside. 2-time scoring champ. 1-time rebounding champ. And Dikembe Mutombo. Spent 5 seasons there. Won 3 Defensive Player of the Years. That's a pretty good roster. Like, that's pretty solid. You got 3 Hall of Famers. Joe Johnson has a sneaky Hall of Fame case. I don't even know when he's ready because he played in the NBA last year. And Trae Young, who probably might be a Hall of Famer, maybe. Going up against the Utah Jazz, who are pretty fucking loaded. They're pretty loaded for a team like... They're pretty loaded for a team in Utah, even though half of their franchise's history was in New Orleans, but still. John Stockton, obviously the all-time assist leader, Hall of Famer, 19 years. 9-time assist champion. Pistol Pete Maravich, 1-time scoring champ. Hall of Famer. Adrian Dantley, a bucket, Hall of Famer. Nearly 30 points per game in 7 seasons. 2-time scoring champ. AK-47. I went with Andre Kirilenko as their power forward. Could have gone Carlos Boozer. Could have put like Karl Malone at the 4 and then had Mark Eaton or Gobert. Could have had Gordon Hayward. I went with AK-47, who would be making $45 million a year in today's NBA. 10 seasons. Averaged 1.5 steals per game and 2 blocks per game. That's insane. 1-time block champ. 3-time all defense. And then Karl Malone. So this is a disgusting team, more ways than one. Hall of Famer, 18 seasons, 2-time MVP, 25.5 points per game. We know how it goes. So who are you guys voting? Utah Jazz, clean sweep. I agree. Hawks roster though is pretty sneaky good. Pretty sneaky good, but they did get like a rough. Again, like the seeding was very rough. I just kind of threw it together. But the Utah Jazz they're not long for this tournament, but they do last past round 1. 76ers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Philadelphia has a stacked all-time roster. They are a storied franchise. 5 Hall of Famers. AI obviously at the point guard, even though he was more of a shooting guard, but had to put him in at the point guard here. An MVP, took them to the championship, 4-time scoring champ. We all know AI. I need not explain. Dr. J, Julius Erving, Hall of Famer, 11 seasons, an MVP, 22 points per game. Definitely peaked with the Nets, but still really good with the Sixers. Charles Barkley, put him at the small forward. Whatever, we'll make it work. Hall of Famer, obviously. 1-time rebounding champ. Won an MVP with the Suns the year after leaving Philadelphia. So didn't win an MVP with the Sixers. But still, an amazing career. One of the most unique players in the history of the sport. Moses Malone. I feel like one of the most slept on, like, all-time greats. You know? Feels like his name's never really brought up. Hall of Famer, an MVP, a Finals MVP. What is Harden's legacy to Philly? Not even an honorable mention. So, there you go. 21 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 3-time rebound champ, 3-time all NBA. And then Wilt Chamberlain. I went with Wilt at center. Because everyone thinks he's the same thing as Karl Malone. That could be true. I went with Wilt as center. He spent 4 seasons there, won 3 MVPs. Dude, these stats are so fucking dumb. 27.6 points per game, 24 rebounds per game. 7 assists per game, too. This is when he was like passing. This is when I read a book recently that talked about Wilt Chamberlain, and he I definitely think Bill Russell, the more you read about Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell is definitely much better all time than Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain has said it himself multiple times. But Wilt literally was like, I'm just gonna lead the league in assists this year. I don't give a fuck. I will pass up wide open layups. I'm racking up assists. Pretty hilarious guy. 2-time scoring champ, 3-time rebound champ. Did win a ring there. Dolph Schayes was really good. Way before any of our times, obviously. Same with Billy Cunningham and Hal Greer. Read any Bill Simmons book and you come away thinking Russell's the best of all time. Oh no, there's players on multiple teams. Wilt's also on the Warriors. Moses Malone's on the Rockets. So yeah, there's multiple. Dr. J's on the Nets. So, and AI almost made it on the Nuggets, but went with someone else. So anyways, this one feels. Oh wait, we didn't even look at Minnesota. Dare we? Do we even need to? In Minnesota's defense, they're compared to some of these other teams, especially compared to Philadelphia, they're a relatively new franchise. But it's bleak. What was Sam Cassell for their point guard? Only spent 2 seasons there. Did make an All-Star game, the only All-Star game of his career. Did make an All-NBA team, the only All-NBA team of his career. I went with Ant as a shooting guard. I mean, who the fuck else am I going to choose? Like Stephon Marbury? Latrell Sprewell? He nearly killed someone. So I just went with Ant. I mean, you guys think that's a little too soon or what? I don't really think so. Yeah, Cat didn't make mine. I'll explain why here in a bit. Only 3 seasons for Ant. He has made an all-star game. 21 points per game. Just think talent-wise, he clearly deserves to be on this list. I went with Jimmy Butler, small forward, even though he only spent 1 season there. And it was a hilarious ending. But, I mean, one-time all-star, all-NBA, all-defense in his 1 season there. And it was their best season since the KG era. Before, like, the past few seasons, obviously. So ultimately it came down to Kevin Love or Karl Anthony Towns at the power forward spot. And this is just fueled by blind hatred. And hatred's a strong word, but you guys know my opinion on Cat. I think the same could probably be said for Timberwolves era Kevin Love, where like he wasn't really a super impactful winning guy. But still, the stat lines he would put up were insane. So I went with Kevin Love, 6 seasons, nearly 20 points per game, over 12 rebounds per game, rebound champ once, 3-time All-Star, 2 times All-NBA, most improved player. And then KG, obviously. 14 seasons with Minnesota. Like it's, you kind of forget that he spent that long there before getting traded to Boston. Obviously, one of those seasons was the last year of his career, KG's. Hall of Famer, nearly 20 points per game, 1.5 blocks per game, 4-time rebounding champ, an MVP, 10-time All-Star. A great career. A great career. Not better than Dirk, but still a great career. This one's easy, though, of course. Boom, Philly. On to the next one. The Rockets and the Raptors. So the Raptors are like the same as the Timberwolves, where it's a very new franchise. I think they actually might be the most recent franchise on here, right? With the argument for LaVine over Ant at shooting guard. LaVine over Anthony Edwards? Oh, there's not one at all. So the Raptors, Kyle Lowry, 9 years, did win a championship, 6-time All-Star, over 7 assists per game. Good defender too in his prime. A pretty solid point guard. No, we're counting the Sonics on this list. Vince Carter, Rockets easy clear. I better not see a vote for the Raptors. Yeah, these are going to get closer, I promise. Vince Carter obviously started his career with the Raptors. 6-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year. Didn't end pretty, but he was really good there. A really good scorer, really good player. DeMar at small forward, nearly 20 points per game, 4-time All-Star. I went with Kawhi. I mean, Kawhi is the greatest Raptor in history, right? Obviously, he only spent a season there. But what he did in that 1 season is better than anything else anyone had ever done for this franchise, okay? I say this as an outsider. I don't know if Raptors fans like, yeah, well, Kyle Lowry, was here for 10 years. Like, yeah, DeMar was here for 10 years. But Kawhi, Jesus Christ. I think he finished second in MVP voting this year, right? 26.6 points per game. All defense. Obviously won the ring, won the finals MVP, one of the better postseason runs we've seen. I mean, it had to be him. It was him or Siakam. So, in like first couple years, T-Mac, who was not very good on the Raptors. And then Chris Bosh at center, who was really good. 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, 7 seasons, Hall of Famer. 20 points per game, 9.5 rebounds per game. This is before he became like a stretch 4 with the Heat. So for being like such a new team, this really isn't terrible. But they don't have a chance against the Rockets, who, whenever I was putting this together, the Rockets are fucking nasty. Like, this is a disgusting team. James Harden is the point guard, obviously. Won an MVP, 3-time scoring champ, 1-time assist champ. Nearly 30 points per game, 7.7 assists per game. A tremendous career. Clyde the Glide Drexler, obviously. Spent the end of his career in Houston. Was not as good as he was at his peak in Portland, obviously, but still really good. Won a championship there. One-time All-NBA, nearly 20 points per game. Just filling up the stat sheet. 2-time All-Star. Only 4 seasons there, but I felt comfortable putting him there. Team act at the small forward. 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Hall of Famer, obviously. Everybody on this list, I mean, James Harden will be a Hall of Famer. Moses Malone, 6 seasons, 2-time MVP, 4-time All-NBA, 1-time All-Defense, 24 points per game, 15 rebounds per game. Moses Malone was stupid. Stupid stats. And then Hakeem Olajuwon at the center. The big one. Hall of Famer, 17 years. Then he had the unfortunate time. Hakeem, for me, is my best center of all time. He's definitely up there. 12-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, won the MVP. 2-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 3-time block champ. Guy was incredible. And then you have like Ralph Sampson, who was really good before injuries. Same thing with Yao Ming, Calvin Murphy, Elvin Hayes, Stevie Franchise. Stupidly stacked team. So an unfortunate pool for the Raptors. Who the fuck did it? Who did it? Who's responsible? Golden State Warriors, Memphis Grizzlies. When are we going to get some tough matchups? Memphis is the same thing with Toronto. A relatively new franchise. So because of that, their team is not very great. Mike Conley is the point guard. 12 seasons, 1-time All-Defense. Never made an All-Star game. Was for the longest time kind of considered the best player ever to not make an All-Star game before he made it. With the Jazz. I put John Morant shooting guard. Like, he had to be in here, and Mike Conley had to be in here. So, 22.5 points per game. 2-time All-Star in 4 seasons. 1-time All-NBA. Most improved, even though he didn't deserve it. Not that he wasn't great. He was great, but it was a stupid award. Didn't make any sense. What with Tony Allen, a small forward? I mean, what else was I supposed to go? I almost put Desmond Bane here. Could have gone Sharif. He was really good too. A walking bucket, but Wilt should be on the Warriors, or am I tripping? Wilt is on the Warriors. Guys are on here multiple times. I think it makes sense based on stats, but there was a time when Zebo was the Grizzlies to me. Yeah, Zebo was a tough one to leave off, but I feel like Pau Gasol and Marc Gasol both had to be on here. I mean, it was like, what, do I put Zach Randolph at the 3? I mean, I guess you could, but I tried to have it make sense position-wise. Tony Allen, 6-time All-Defense. I mean, Pau Gasol spent his first 7 seasons. Like you think of Pau Gasol, obviously you think of the Lakers, but kind of crazy he spent 7 years there. Imagine thinking you could ever guard me. I've had to take a break the last 2 days from basketball because I played pickup something like 8 days in a row, and I was feeling it. I was feeling it. I'm getting up there. Pau Gasol, Hall of Famer, great career. Marc Gasol, Defensive Player of the Year. Some people say he didn't deserve it. I'm not going to go there. Some people thought that was LeBron's Defensive Player of the Year that he stole. I won't get into it. Anyways, great career. Marc Gasol probably like John Morant will more than likely go down as the best Grizzly ever, but Marc Gasol was probably the best just in terms of like his standing in the league while being a member of the Grizzlies. Who are they going up against? Oh God, Golden State. Golden State's a sleeper in this tournament. Let me tell you. You think it's going to be Lakers and Celtics in the finals, then you look at like Golden State. Steph Curry, obviously, all-time leading three-point shooter. 2-time MVP, the first ever unanimous MVP. 4-time champion. 1-time finals MVP. I mean, it's Steph Curry. Went with, okay, so shooting guard could have gone several different directions. Obviously, you could have had Clay here, but I feel like it had to be Chris Mullin. 5-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, Hall of Famer, part of the Run DMC team. Could have went with Tim Hardaway too, but could have went with Baron Davis, but I'm not going to for reasons you guys already know. Rick Barry at small forward. Underrated career. Whenever I was putting this together, I knew Rick Barry, obviously. He was the one who shot the granny style free throws, but always led the league in free throw percentage. But he was like really fucking good. 8 seasons with the Warriors, 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, scoring champion, steal champion, finals MVP, 25.5 points per game, 2.5 steals per game. And then I did go KD. Could have gotten Draymond. I would understand swapping out KD and Draymond just because Draymond's been there forever. But I feel like it has to be KD. 3 seasons there, 2-time champion, 2-time finals MVP. And then Wilt. 6 seasons, won the MVP there. Never won a ring. What was this? Jesus. 41 points per game. 25 rebounds per game. Never won a ring with the Warriors. Insane stuff. I know. It's crazy. Now, he did average like 35 shots a game or something crazy like that. But still, pretty impressive nonetheless. This is obviously a Warriors sweep. Oh, here they come, the Dallas Mavericks. Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, he hold on, let's see. What the season Wilt averaged 50 points. How many shots did he average? 39 and a half. 39 and a half shots per game the year that he averaged 50 points. Put some stuff into perspective a little bit, I think. It was also a different time though when like field goal percentage was way lower. To be fair to him. Dallas Mavericks. I don't want to sway the vote. I feel like they're not long for this tournament, man. It's a little depressing whenever you put the all-time team together. Okay. Went with Steve Nash at point guard. Although his peak was after the Mavericks. His last 2 seasons there were really good. 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. 14.6 points per game, 7.2 assists per game. And that doesn't sound great, but his first 2 years with the Mavericks were terrible. I went Luka at the shooting guard, obviously. 5 years in the league, 4-time All-NBA first team. Just crazy stuff. And hopefully by the end of this career, we have some MVPs. We got some finals MVPs. Please, God. Small forward, you could have gone any direction, really. I went with Mark Aguirre. 3-time All-Star with the Mavericks, 25 points per game. Just a bucket getter. Rolando Blackman was great too. Derek Harp, was a sneaky selection for the point guard. He was one of the best defensive guards of his time. Jamal Mashburn was a bucket. You know, Michael Finley, obviously really good. Dirk. Oh, gotta add Hall of Fame to Dirk's career. 21 years in the league, all with the Mavericks. 1-time MVP, 1-time Finals MVP. 20 points per game. Incredibly efficient. Changed the way the game was played. And Tyson Chandler. Guys, this franchise is cursed when it comes to centers. Whenever I was putting this list together, this franchise with centers is rough. James Donaldson was the only other real choice, but I mean, Tyson Chandler won a ring and was a big reason why they won a ring. All defense, 2 different stints here. It's rough. It's not a lot of great players. And then you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder / Seattle Supersonics. Another sleeper. Russell Westbrook at point guard, obviously, won an MVP, averaged a triple-double first time since Oscar Robertson. Then he did it multiple times. 2-time scoring champ, 2-time assist champ. I mean, peak Russ. I'm fearful that peak Russ will be forgotten over time as more and more people, just remember the tail end of his career and laugh at him. I do wonder if their focus on Euros hurts their chances at a great center. No, I don't think that's... Twitter would have Powell starting, no doubt. No, Twitter would... let me not say. Mavs Twitter would do bad things to Dwight Powell if they had the chance. Gary Payton at shooting guard, Hall of Famer. One of the best defensive guards ever. Maybe the best. One-time defensive player of the year. He was the last guard defensive player of the year before Marcus Smart, wasn't he? One-time steals champ, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defense. The glove! Ray Allen. So Ray Allen pops up on this list a couple times. I think people forget Ray Allen's early career before he went to the Celtics and then the Heat, where he was just kind of like that knockdown, catch and shoot guy. He averaged 25 points per game in Seattle. 4-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA in 5 seasons. An absolute bucket. I think he's there with the Bucks too on this list for me. KD obviously is gonna be a Hall of Famer someday. 1-time MVP, 7-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 27 points per game for Mr. Kevin Durant. Then I went with Sean Kemp at center. It was either him or Jack Sikma. 8 seasons in the league for Sean Kemp. Some people think he should be a Hall of Famer. I will say the old Supersonic teams with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, always one of the more fun teams to play with on 2K, just throwing lobs to Sean Kemp over and over and over. He's not in the Hall of Fame. 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. 16 points per game, 9.6 rebounds per game. He's like one of the first people. He's like one of the first people who are like, oh, Sean Kemp should be in the NBA. Or the NBA Hall of Fame. Anyways, a tough get for the Mavericks. Now, I would personally vote for the Thunder, and I don't think it should be that close. Let's see. Is this what we're doing today? Seriously. Like, is this really what we got going on, man? Come on. This isn't even close. This isn't even close, but I'm letting you guys choose the winner. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. An upset. Jesus. All right, Bucks and Pelicans. Okay, we need to like kind of make these a little bit faster. Pelicans, a relatively new franchise as well. I'm not overriding any votes today. Dirk gonna carry like Ant did. If the Mavericks beat the Warriors. Pelicans, Chris Paul nearly won an MVP in his tenure with New Orleans. Nearly 10 assists per game. Let's round up and give him that. 2-time assist champ, 3-time steal champ, 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense. Was very, very good. Baron Davis, 3 seasons in New Orleans, 20 points per game. 1-time steals champ, 1-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. How is it not close? Four Hall of Famers on the Thunder team compared to just 3 for the Mavericks. And even then, like, Steve Nash was not at the peak of his powers with the Mavericks. Drew at small forward is nasty. I didn't know what else to do. It was either that or Jamal Mashburn. I wanted to get Drew in there. Or you could do like Zion at the 3 and Boogie at the 4, or Boogie at the 5 and AD at the 4. Or you could do like David West. But I went with Drew. Fuck it. 7 seasons. He's running small forward. 2-time All-Defense. Zion is on here. I mean, talent-wise, he has to be. And then AD at center. 3-time block champ. For some reason in my brain, I just assumed that AD won Defensive Player of the Year with the Pelicans at some point. Like, if you put a gun to my head and asked me that, I would have said, yeah, for sure he did. And I'd be dead. And they're going up against the Milwaukee Bucks, who, for, being in Milwaukee, just an incredibly storied franchise with tons of great players. Oscar Robertson, like, hello, Hall of Famer. This was not peak of his powers, Oscar, to be fair. That was in Sacramento. Or I don't know if they were in Sacramento at the time, but that was with the Kings. I think they were in Kansas City, right? Hall of Famer, 2-time All-Star, 1-time champion, 1-time All-NBA. Sidney Moncrief, 10 seasons, 5-time All-Defense, 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, 2 times Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Famer. Ray Allen, nearly 20 points per game, 40% from 3 with the Bucks. The Bucks, led by Ray Allen in the early 2000s, were like a sneaky, very good team who were like very, very competitive and nearly finals contenders. Giannis, obviously, will be a Hall of Famer one day. 2-time MVP, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, 1-time Finals MVP. It's Giannis. And then Kareem. Now, when we get to the Lakers, there's gonna be some uncomfortable conversations. But Kareem, this was when he was Lou Addison, right? 6 seasons, 30 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, 3.5 blocks per game. Jesus. 3-time MVP, 1-time Final Champion. Lou Alcindor. Yeah, sorry. Jesus. What did I say? Lou Henderson? It's Bucks easily. Who's voting for the Pelicans? Who's doing it? All right, we need to go quicker here. Cavaliers versus Knicks. Oh, this one could be fun, actually. Oh, this one could be fun. Alcindor. Okay, yeah. This one could be a fun little matchup. So Cleveland is obviously carried pretty heavily by the LeBron era. I went with Mark Price as the point guard. 9 seasons, 16.5 points per game, 7.2 assists per game. 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 2-time free throw champ. Kyrie at the shooting guard. 4-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. Arguably the clutchest shot in the history of the sport. LeBron, obviously, 11 seasons across 2 stints. 10-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 2-time MVP. A champion, a finals MVP, 1-time scoring champ. The question for me was LeBron better than the Knicks' history? My answer is yes. I went with Kevin Love as the power forward. This one was hard. You could have gone Larry Nance. You could have put like World Be Free in and then moved LeBron to the power forward. But I went with K-Love. 9 years. He spent 9 seasons with the Cavs. Jesus. 2 less than LeBron. Is that not crazy? Obviously, wasn't who he was in Minnesota, but still really good. 15.7 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, 2-time All-Star. Was on that finals team. Clamped up Steph Curry in the clutch. Then Brad Daugherty, 8 seasons, career cut short due to back injuries. 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. It's like super into NASCAR now. Didn't know that. Super into NASCAR. That's a pretty damn good team. Going up against the Knicks. Now, I have my personal opinion, but I don't want to sway votes. The Knicks. Walt Frazier, obviously, as the point guard. Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Defense, 2-time champion. Went with Earl the Pearl Monroe as their shooting guard, although you could have gone like a couple different directions. But he was there for one of the rings. Hall of Famer, 2-time All-Star. I just went with him. Melo at the 3, 7 years there, 1-time scoring champ, 7 All-Star appearances. Was it a bit of a disappointing, that they were never really super competitive? Yeah, maybe. Willis Reed, Hall of Famer, 10 seasons, 2-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 1-time NBA MVP, and Patrick Ewing at center. Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, All-Defense. And some pretty solid guys off the bench. But for as old as the Knicks are, kind of thought there'd be a little bit more oomph. Let's see what you guys voted. Okay. I was going to say, I would vote for the Cavs, truthfully. The LeBron just hard carries. So here we go. We have this side of the bracket done. Moving on. Pistons and Pacers. Pistons and Pacers. Indiana, in my brain, was a little bit stronger than they actually ended up being. So for point guard, I didn't know who the fuck to pick. It was actually slim pickings. So I just put Victor Oladipo there, which is gross. But like, what else am I supposed to do? He was really good there. Didn't really play point guard, but 4 seasons. Obviously before injuries, and then got traded to the Rockets in the James Harden deal. Weird trade. How did he get rerouted there? What did the Pacers get for that? Anyways, 2-time All-Star, most improved player. Reggie Miller, obviously, Hall of Famer. Only a 5-time All-Star. 3-time All-NBA. An interesting career that might not be as great as some people remember. That's just what I'll say. Paul George, obviously, was really good. 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense. Led some very competitive Pacers teams. What with Jermaine O'Neal at power forward, who before like Malice in the Palace was the best player on probably the best team in the league. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, really good player. And then Mel Daniels, Hall of Famer, 2-time MVP, 3-time ABA champion. So this was way back. Going up against the Pistons, let's just be real. It's going to be the Pistons. You look at their roster. Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards of all time. 2-time champion, 1-time finals MVP. Joe Dumars, Hall of Famer, 14 years. 1-time finals MVP, 2-time champion, 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Grant Hill. Like, you're getting peak Grant Hill here, too. What up, Hoop Venue? You're getting peak Grant Hill. 6 seasons, 5-time All-Star, 5 times All-NBA. Like, he was supposed to be the face of the league, pretty much. Is this just each franchise position GOAT, or fit considered for lineup? No, fit is considered a little bit, for sure. Like, I had Drew Holiday playing small forward for the Pelicans. Grant Hill. Ben Wallace at power forward. It was between Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman. And ultimately, I did go Ben Wallace. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, man. 4 consecutive Defensive Player of the Years. Offensively, it was ugly, but defensively, he was an absolute menace. 2-time rebound champ, 6-time All-Defense, 5-time All-NBA, obviously. A member of that championship team. And then Bob Lanier, Hall of Famer, 10 years, 7-time All-Star. And it's some like great bit like this, like the people left off this list could beat some other teams here just straight up. This one's relatively easy in my opinion. Yeah, Pistons clear pretty comfortably. Heat versus Trailblazers. Portland has a pretty strong all-time team. I will say that. I'm assuming they're going to lose here. You skip Kings versus Suns? Oh, whoops, my bad. All right, let's do Kings versus Suns first. So Sacramento is a storied franchise. Like, they've been around a long time, and they've got some heavy hitters, man. They've got some heavy hitters. Tiny Archibald, Hall of Famer, scoring champ, assist champ, was the first player in NBA history to lead the league in total points and assists until Trae Young came. That's right. 25 points per game, 8 assists per game, 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, Hall of Famer, Tiny Archibald. And then Oscar Robertson, Hall of Famer. Obviously, this was the peak of his powers. 10-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, MVP, averaged a triple-double. Mitch Richmond, walking bucket, Hall of Famer. 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Chris Webber, Hall of Famer as well. You guys know Chris Webber at this point. And then Jerry Lucas, also a Hall of Famer. So, like, pretty stacked. Like for Sacramento and then Kansas City too. Like that's a stacked group of players. Then you have like Boogie, obviously, Peja. I would love to have gotten Peja on here, but it just wasn't in the cards. And then the Suns, who are also stacked. Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, obviously, 5-time assist champ in his 10 seasons there. Was the engine of the best offense in the league pretty much every single year. D-Book. I went with D-Book as the shooting guard. It was between him and like Dennis Johnson or Kevin Johnson, but you also have Kidd too, but I felt like that wasn't peak powers, Jason Kidd. And like D-Book just should be on this list, I think. 3-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. Those accolades will continue to grow. What was Sean Marion, a small forward? I think Sean Marion's a Hall of Famer, personally. And this is not just some Mavericks. This is not just some like Mavericks bias. But he was disgustingly good in Phoenix, not just offensively, but defensively. Suns lineup so tough, personally, like Nance, greater than stat for defensive versatility purposes. Yeah, I could see that. I feel like I had to go with Mark Stoudemire, though. I mean, fit definitely factored in, but it wasn't like, it wasn't the end-all, be-all. Chuck's obviously got to be here. 1 MVP with the Suns. 4 seasons, 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. 23.4 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game. Just really damn good. And then I went with Stoudemire. Just because, I don't know, he's so synonymous with the Suns in my head. Like, whenever you think about the Suns, you think Steve Nash throwing lobs to Amar'e Stoudemire. This is a fun team right here, actually. Like, Devin Booker's a good defender. Great, no, good, yeah. Sean Marion, an amazing defender. Steve Nash, not so much. Chuck, that. This is a tough one. Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, this is a toughie. I think I would go Sacramento, though. I think they're just better. What the hell is going on here? Am I crazy? All right. That feels intense. Damn. Maybe I'm just overvaluing having like Oscar Robertson, Tiny Archibald. Okay. All right, Heat and Trailblazers. I mean, that's wild to me. Heat and Trailblazers. Heat is pretty stacked. Like, the Heat are pretty stacked. Went with Tim Hardaway as the point guard. Hall of Famer, 6 seasons, 2-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Could be a recency thing as well. I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't really know much about these old players either, but 2-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA with the Heat. Tim Hardaway was. Dwayne Wade, obviously, as a shooting guard, one of the best shooting guards in the history of the game, despite my opinions on him. 15 seasons with the Heat across 2 stints. Obviously, had the Dwayne Wade going to the Bulls into the Cavs was so dumb. Like, that's one of the dumbest things. 13-time All-Star, 1-time scoring champ, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense, 3-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP. Ugh. Incredible player. Went with Jimmy at the 3. Only been there 4 seasons. Been to the Finals twice. 2-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. This was actually kind of tough because like I wanted to include Shaq here because he was still Shaq's first year with the Heat. He was still really, really good. He wasn't like prime Shaq, but he was still really, really great. I would like to have included Chris Bosh, but it was like just kind of difficult. It was kind of difficult to get all those guys in there. Yeah, it definitely had to be. It had to be Alonzo. Like, no, Alonzo was always going to be on it. I was like thinking, could I have like Alonzo at the 5 and Shaq at the 4, and then have LeBron at the 3? But it just was like so weird. It was so weird. It was just too weird. And Shaq will be on here again. So LeBron, obviously, I'm putting him at the 4 here because that's pretty much what he played most of the time in Miami. 4 seasons, 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 2-time MVP. Probably should have won a Defensive Player of the Year. 2-time champ, 2-time Finals MVP. I mean, it's LeBron James. And then Alonzo Mourning. Great career. Hall of Famer. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Was a part of that 2006 team. So the Heat are stacked. Who are they going up against? The Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are pretty stacked, though, too. You know, they're not a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. There were some difficult like decisions to be made, but what with Dame at point guard, obviously that one's easy. What with Brandon Roy as shooting guard? Like if we're just doing peak stuff, what with Brandon Roy? 5 years there, 19 points per game, like 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA Rookie of the Year, and unfortunately, knee injuries robbed us of what would have been a great career. Sheed greater than Aldridge at the 4. That was my big one. I had Rasheed Wallace in there before changing it for LaMarcus Aldridge. I could definitely see putting Rasheed Wallace at the 4. That was actually probably the toughest decision I had making this entire thing. Who's the greatest Trailblazer of all time in your opinion? I mean, if you're factoring, I mean, okay. How is it not Clyde Drexler? But Bill Walton just pound for pound was the best player Portland ever had. Yeah, he couldn't stay healthy to save his life, but Bill Walton won a 6th Man of the Year with Boston. Like a really interesting career. This is a good team. And if you can replace Rasheed Wallace, replace LaMarcus Aldridge with Rasheed Wallace if you want to. LaMarcus Aldridge was stupidly good though too. I could definitely see an argument for all. But Aldridge will probably be a Hall of Famer, right? Do we think Aldridge will be a Hall of Famer? I'm thinking about this now. Terry Porter. I mean, Terry Porter's not better than Dame. Like, let's just be honest. Dame will obviously be a Hall of Famer. Let's see what you guys went with. I mean, the Heat just have too much star power. Okay. Portland's a good. That's a good team though. Like Portland has a good all-time team. Bulls and Hornets. All right. God bless you, Charlotte. You are not long for this tournament. Not long for this tournament. Guys, when I tell you, Gerald Wallace could be in here. I like Larry Johnson a lot, though. I don't know what it is. I feel like Larry Johnson would be really popular in today's NBA. But when I tell you that I almost put LaMelo on here. Kemba Walker, obviously, is the point guard. 3-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. Eddie Jones, only there for 2 years, but was really, really good. 2-time All-Defense. Not better than Dame, no, but Terry Porter is an all-time Blazer great. Glenn Rice was a walking bucket, 3-time All-Star in 3 seasons. Eddie Jones might be the most underrated player ever. Yeah, he was really good. Eddie Jones would make $35-40 million in today's NBA. Larry Johnson, fun player, good player. And then Alonzo Mourning, who started his career with the Hornets. Really good too. It's Gerald Wallace was really good. Thought about having him in here. Del Curry's like a franchise legend there. But it's probably the worst franchise in the history of the game. So I don't really know what you'd expect. Going up against the Bulls, where this actually felt like the easiest one. Are there any qualms at all with this starting five? Like, could you have any starting five that's not this? D-Rose, obviously. It's crazy, man. D-Rose only made one All-NBA team. Like, damn. Like, we know that he barely spent, or like injuries took his career away from us pretty much, but I guess you forget the extent of it. Oh, yeah, I thought about going Baron Davis. Crazy as it sounds, I might go Jimmy at the 3 and Pippen at the 4 with Rodman off. It's hard to leave off the big 3. But I actually wanted to have Jimmy in here. But I couldn't figure out how to do it, honestly. There's actually some argument. See, like, Artis Gilmore's like one of these super old players that none of us really know much about. But, like, there's some argument for Joe Kim over Artis Gilmore. Joe Kim won like a defensive player of the year. Finished what was it that 1 year? Third in MVP. Third in MVP voting, but Artis Gilmore did win an MVP. However, it was not with the. It was ABA MVP. Seen a clip of dude blocking a shot over the backboard. 4-time All-Star, 1-time All-Defense, Hall of Famer. It's crazy that Dennis Rodman was only there for 3 years. Like, whenever you say it, it's like, oh yeah, well, duh, he was only there for 3 years for the final three-peat. But God, he's so like tied to the Bulls that it feels like he was no Stacey King. I didn't list every single honorable player. Otherwise, this would have taken me much longer than it already did. Like, let's see, Dennis Rodman, 7 seasons with the Pistons. Crazy. Obviously, this team is stupid stacked. MJ, what do I need to say about Michael Jordan? What do I need to say about Scottie Pippen? What do I need to say about Dennis Rodman? Ben Gordon was nice too, but like you guys are too deep in the weeds with the honorable mentions. All right, Spurs and Clippers. This one shouldn't take too long. Clippers are an old franchise. Like, they've been around a long time, and still, it's a little dire. Chris Paul's the point guard, obviously. 5-time All-Star, 2-time assist champ, 3-time steal champ, 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defense. Went with World B. Free. He had a 30-point per game season with, I think it was when they were in San Diego. But decided to go with that. Like, this is a franchise that was absolutely garbage for a long time. Kawhi still gets a shout. I mean, you guys know how much I love Kawhi. I think he's a member of every team he's played for. He's in their starting 5 on this list. Blake Griffin did have a great career. Had a great career. 8 seasons, 5-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. Like, we talk about Blake Griffin, like, injuries really robbed us, and they robbed us of, like, his longevity, but he still had a really good career. Like, he flamed out quickly, but we still got, like, pretty damn good Blake Griffin. He flamed out at, like, 30. Kawhi as a Clipper has not been impressive. Yeah, Lamar Odom's not here for honorable mention. I don't know why. Because I actually was considering putting Lamar Odom in there. And Bob McAdoo was really good. Hall of Famer, 5 seasons, won an MVP, 3-time scoring champ. Just stupid stats. CP0 peak is overrated. I heard someone saying he had no flaws in his game and that he was a defensive player of the year candidate. Actually, I actually think Chris Paul's peak is underrated. I don't think people really realize how good he was in New Orleans. Like, he was like a top 3 player in the league. So anyways, not terrible, but for as long as they've been around, it's pretty terrible. I just realized I skipped another matchup. Let's just finish this one first. Spurs, their team is stacked. They're a sleeper. Another one of these teams where you could have, like, I thought about, would you put Manu in? Put like Gervin at the 3 or something, and then have Manu play the 2, or Manu at the 3, whatever. Kind of feel like you can't leave Kawhi off, though. Yeah, I thought about putting Elton Brand in there, too. Tony Parker is the point guard, obviously. 17 seasons with 1. No, Gervin's staying no matter what. It was mainly Kawhi versus Manu. George Gervin, 12 seasons, 12 All-Star games, 9-time All-NBA, 4-time scoring champ. Wemby is honorable mention. I'm trying to think considering the Mavericks history of sinners, or shall I say lack thereof, if the Mavericks got incredibly lucky and got the first overall pick this year, I would have put Wemby as their center. I'm being dead serious. I would have done it. Tony Parker, George Gervin, Kawhi Leonard, 2-time defensive player of the year, finals MVP. I think it's got to be Kawhi. Tim Duncan, obviously, and David Robinson. Jesus Christ. You should have 3 defensive player of the years in this lineup because Tim Duncan should have gotten at least 1. David Robinson got 1. Kawhi obviously got a couple. Just a stupid team, man. Rather have Leonard as a Raptor. Well, Leonard's a Raptor too. People are on here multiple times. I don't think Elton Brand was ever a Mav. Oh, he was Maverick. What the hell? Elton Brand played 72 games with the Mavericks? Why do I have zero recollection of that? No, that's got to be a Mandela moment. I have zero. He was on that team that went 500 and Dirk had like the crazy long beard. God, why do I... Chris Cam... This team was so fucking disgusting. Look at this team, man. Elton Brand, Roddy B, Darren Collinson, Derek Fisher. Oh my God, you guys remember that? OJ Mayo, Chris Kaman. Oh my God, what a disaster. Anthony Morrow was knocked down, 3-point shooter on 2K when he was with the Thunder. Ugh, what a disgusting team that was. All right, anyways, this is an easy one. Spurs clear easily. All right, going back to this one, Magic and Nets. Oh, this one's actually kind of spicy. All right, so Orlando, a pretty good team. I just think Brandon Wright was an upcoming superstar. I love Brandon Wright, actually. Like, I actually think Brandon Wright was good. So here's the thing with the Magic. Who do you want to play your small forward? It's between Rashard Lewis or Hedo Turkoglu. Rashard Lewis did make an All-Star game with them. Grant Hill, but wasn't peak of his powers, Grant Hill. McGrady at small forward. Well, who are you putting at the 2? Penny Hardaway's the point guard, obviously. 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Shout out to Jameer Nelson, though. He was good for them. Glenn Rice. Yeah, you could do Glenn Rice. How long was Glenn Rice there, though? I think there was a reason why I didn't have Glenn Rice. Wait. Glenn Rice was never on Orlando. I almost had Glenn Rice for the Hornets. I did have Glenn Rice on the Hornets, actually. Penny Hardaway, Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, Jesus Christ. 4 seasons, 28 points per game. God, T-Mac was amazing, dude. I went with Hito Turkoglu. Just a, knockdown 3-point shooter. I don't know. That was a tough one. But then I have Shaq at the 4 and Dwight at the 5. You have to have both of those guys in here, obviously. Dennis Scott. Yeah, I thought about going 3D there, but it's interchangeable. I don't think it's making too much of a difference either way. Shaq, first 4 seasons of his career, 27 points per game, 12.5 rebounds, 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, scoring champ. Then Dwight Howard, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 5 times All-NBA. Damn, that Twin Towers is crazy. Who would be like Shaq? Would have to be the 4, right? I feel like he was better suited for being out on the perimeter defensively, even though it'd be kind of gross. T-Mac, yeah, especially Orlando T-Mac was peak of his powers, for sure. Versus Brooklyn / New Jersey / New York. They got like a sneaky good team, honest to God. Jason Kidd damn near led them to a finals. I mean, did lead them to the finals, but Hall of Famer, 7 years there, 5-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defense, 3-time All-NBA, 2-time assist champ. Would you have Vince Carter's career or T-Mac's career? It's weird to me that Vince Carter's more revered, but T-Mac was definitely better than Vince Carter was. No two ways around it. Speaking of the devil, I have Vince Carter here. His time with the New Jersey Nets, 5 seasons, 23 points per game, 3-time All-Star. Dr. J, a big reason why the ABA and NBA merged was Dr. J's time with the Nets. Only 3 seasons, though, but 2-time ABA champion, 3-time ABA MVP. And it's Dr. J. Kenyon Martin at power forward, Durant at small forward. And then where do you put Julius Erving? What up, Cray? KD obviously has to be here. Only 3 full seasons. Was there 4 years, but didn't play 1 year. KD, this is kind of nuts. No, Jason Kidd's got to be here. KD, 29 points per game. He was 50, 40, 90 as a member of the Nets. On 29 points per game. Like, do we maybe overlook how good he was with them? I know, like, damn. I know they were a disappointment, but take Lopez out. Well, someone's got to play center. Like, you can't have KD at the 5. Brook Lopez. Okay, so the top 4 of this team. Kidd. All right, yeah, that was like prime Jason Kidd. Vince Carter. Yeah, that was really good Vince Carter. Dr. J. Yeah. That's got to be Dr. J. Obviously. Kevin Durant, 29 points per game on 50, 40, 90. Yeah, he's got to be on there. And then Brook Lopez. So it's between Brook Lopez. Okay, so listen. Kenyon Martin did make an all-star game with the Nets. But Brook Lopez, I believe, is still the all-time leading scorer in Brooklyn Nets history. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain he is still the all-time leading scorer in Brooklyn Nets history. I feel like it has to be him, right? Like I feel like I'll just give him the nod just because of that alone. All-time leading Nets scorer. It feels hard to believe, but it is Brook Lopez. All right. Yeah, the Nets do have a good team. But honestly, so do I don't know who wins this, actually. I mean, KD and Brook... In this matchup, KD and Brook Lopez are getting... or at least KD is getting murdered by Shaq. But Brook Lopez is a pretty good defender. But you have Shaq and Dwight Howard. Kid running the offense. Peak of his powers, Dr. J. Going up against early career Shaq, Dwight Howard. Peak of his powers, Tracy McGrady. This is a fun matchup. Who'd you guys go with? Magic, that comfortably, huh? Okay. I think Orlando does win. Are we going Prime Lopez or Nets Lopez? Nets Lopez. Nets, which you're right, wasn't as great of a defender, but was still a solid defender. Also, like, hadn't fully become like the 3-point shooter. More of like a post guy. All right, last matchup of round 1. Nuggets versus Wizards. So the Wizards have been around forever. They were the Bullets, obviously. And I was still, like, disappointed in their all-time starting 5, admittedly. Admittedly disappointed. Like, who should we put at the 3? That was the question I kept coming back to. Because I went with Bradley Beal, and that feels so disgusting. But like Earl Monroe was not at the peak of his powers when he was playing with the Wizards franchise. It was also like 6'3", which Beal's not that much taller, but the problem is like most of their best players were all like centers. And this was not a peak of his powers Moses Malone either, by the way. Larry Hughes. MJ at the 3. You know, maybe. Old ass MJ. That would be really funny, but I just don't think you can do that. Beal was there for 11 years, man. Like, okay, that factored in a tiny bit for me. If players were somewhat close and one guy was there for 11 years and another guy was there for 3, I'm going the 11-year guy. John Wall is the point guard, I think, pretty comfortably. Gilbert Arenas, 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Was an absolute bucket when he was with the Wizards. Bradley Beal, this team. But then you have Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes, who are like all-time greats. Going up against the Nuggets, who are sneaky stacked. The Nuggets are sneaky stacked. Now, who would you want to go with point guard? I went with Fat Lever. But, you know, you want to make an argument for like Jamal Murray? I could listen. I don't think I'd agree yet. But I could hear where you're coming from. I almost went with Allen Iverson. He was barely there, but he was still really good there. Chauncey Billups was really good there too. David Thompson, Hall of Famer. 24 points per game. Alex English used to have a throwback Alex English jersey, like the Nuggets, like the one with the mountains on it. Hall of Famer, 25 points per game, 8-time All-Star, 1-time scoring champ. Alex English, disgusting. Melo's got to be on here. 8 years, 4-time All-Star, 4-time NBA, and then Jokic up. 2-time MVP, 1-time Final MVP. Like, you could go AI at point guard. And I wouldn't hate it. Only spent 1 full season in Denver. And Fat Lever made an all defense team. Because okay, so you want to go like fit, right? Jokic is going to have the ball in his hands. Jokic is going to have the ball in his hands. And he's going to run the offense. Like let me get some defense for my point guard. It's still greater than Melo. Dude, I had to go Melo, bro. Like, Dan's a solid 20 years ahead of my time. Okay, and I grew up watching Melo, so it had to be him. I think Denver clears here. Denver's a sneaky good one. All right, on to the second round. Get your votes in. Click the link at the top. We'll go quicker now through these. We'll go quicker through these. LSP at small forward and Mutombo at power forward. No, Alex English has got to be on them. Get your votes in. We'll go quicker. The Lakers and the Celtics have now entered the fold. And we'll look at the Lakers really quickly here. I mean, Jesus. Okay, actually, we need to talk about the Lakers. Because making a starting five for them is actually very difficult. Magic as the point guard, no questions asked, right? Jerry West pretty much has to be on here too. No questions asked. Kobe has to be here, no questions asked. Then it gets difficult. I think Elgin Baylor has to be here. And then it's who's the sitter? And then is the sitter Kareem or is the sitter Shaquille O'Neal? I did go Shaq, but I was shocked that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the second leading scorer in the history of the game, is an honorable mention. 2K rules is Kareem power forward and Shaq center. Yeah, but Elgin had to be there. Elgin Baylor was also really good. And obviously Kareem is better than Elgin Baylor, don't get me wrong, but I felt kind of gross knocking Elgin Baylor out of his spot to play Kareem out of position, if that makes sense. It made sense for the Magic because who else is going to be there? It's got to be Dwight Howard and Shaquille O'Neal, even though that would be a disgusting thing on the court. I mean, those two guys are good enough that it wouldn't matter, but either way, look at this shit, man. Oh, this is crazy. This is nuts. Jesus. And then they're going up against the Jazz, who the Jazz are still good. Don't get me wrong. John Stockton, Pete Maravich, Dantley, Karolinko, Karl Malone. That's a good team right there. But yeah, LeBron is I kind of felt okay leaving LeBron off because even though LeBron has been great, he's not peak LeBron James. Yeah, Lakers honorable mention can beat most teams. Kareem, LeBron, James Worthy, George Mikan, Wilt, Pau Gasol, Anthony Davis. And that's not even all of them. All right, Lakers clear comfortably here. Sixers and Rockets. Oh, shit. All right, just a little refresher. The Rockets team is sneaky stacked. James Harden, prime James Harden. Clyde Drexler, not prime Clyde Drexler, but still really good Clyde Drexler. T-Mac, probably better with the Magic, but still really good. Then Moses Malone, who's amazing, and Hakeem Olajuwon, who's amazing. And then you have Philly. AI, Dr. J, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, and Wilt Chamberlain. Oh. So Moses versus Moses. Hakeem versus Wilt. Ooh. This wasn't 50 points per game, Wilt Chamberlain, mind you. But this was probably better team player, Wilt Chamberlain, though. AI versus Harden. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rockets clear. Charles Barkley could be on both. Chuck on the Rockets is not the move. I can't believe this shit. Oh God. Half and half. I'm the deciding vote. All right. Let's really think about this. Harden versus AI. That's a fun matchup. I actually leaning Harden. Actually, I don't even think this is that controversial to say. I'm leaning Harden, especially when it's like I have so many other great players on my team. Harden can play make. Like I can tell Harden to go run my offense, and I can feel okay with that. What's the shooting guard matchup? Dr. J versus T-Mac, wasn't it? Oh, no. Dr. J versus Clyde Drexler. Chuck versus T-Mac. I like Charles Barkley there. And then it's this Twin Towers. Moses Malone versus Moses Malone. Like they're both... Moses is on the Rockets and on the Sixers. And then Wilt versus Hakeem. I like Hakeem over Wilt. I'll just say that. I actually think I'm leaning Rockets. Yeah, I mean, Moses was great on both teams. This is a brutal second round matchup. Hakeem's the best player here. Can we agree with that? Hakeem is the best player here. Bring the pinch. All right, it's tied. It's neck and neck. I'm going to go to the team with the best player and say the Rockets move on. My God, that one was tough. All right, Warriors versus Mavericks. Dare I? Okay, thank God. Whew. All right, Warriors move on. Mavericks should not have been here. This was a fraud. They rigged it. Golden State, a sneaky adversary, to say the least. Milwaukee versus Cleveland. Let's just have a quick little refresher course. Cleveland, of course, has LeBron, Mark Price is their point guard, Kyrie, LeBron, Kevin Love, Brad Daugherty. Good team. You know, Terrell Brandon, you could throw him in at point guard or shooting guard, whatever. World be free. I think, I mean, you have LeBron. You have the second greatest player of all time around the peak of his powers. Like, his best was actually, second stint LeBron in Cleveland might have been the best LeBron. Like, the most well-rounded, best LeBron there was. Milwaukee just loaded with talent, dude. Oscar Robertson, Sidney Moncrief, Ray Allen, Giannis, and Kareem. This is the Bucks. Oh! No, it's the Bucks. Because I have a vote. And my vote would make it 5-5, and then I'm going Bucks. Thank you. Someone else voted Bucks, so I feel better doing it. All right, Boston Celtics versus Phoenix Suns. Well, let's look at the Celtics. The Celtics have entered the tournament. Let's look at them. Shall we? God. Jesus. Bob Cousy. 6-time NBA champ, 8-time assist champ, 13-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, and 1-time MVP. I went with Paul Pierce. I feel like I had to have Paul Pierce in here. Now, okay, because Kevin Garnett, this was not peak Kevin Garnett, okay? So I felt fine leaving him out. Robert Parrish sucked leaving him out. Kevin McHale sucked leaving him out. But I feel this is our best team. Paul Pierce at the 2. Hall of Famer, 15 seasons, Finals MVP, 10-time All-Star, 4-time NBA. John Havlicek, Finals MVP, 8-time All-Defense. Larry Bird, obviously, 3-time MVP, 3-time champion, 2-time NBA Final MVP. And then Bill Russell. Jesus. Jesus Christ. All right, and we remember who's on the Suns. Who's voting the Suns, man? Like, you guys know I like Devin Booker a lot. Devin Booker's playing in a matchup against these guys, in an all-time matchup. Amari Stoudemire versus Bill Russell. Oh, my God. Detroit Pistons versus Miami Heat. Ooh, okay. All right. So the Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, peak of his powers, Ben Wallace, Bob Lanier. Oh, this one's hard. Versus the Miami Heat, who are also loaded with Hall of Famers. Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Alonzo Mourning. Unironically closer than you think. No, this is really close. This is probably, like, if you were to ask people, this is probably the best LeBron James. So this the second, maybe the greatest player of all time at his best. Jimmy Butler, who will be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Dwayne Wade, one of the best shooting guards of all time. Tim Hardaway, you know, obviously Zeke is way better, clears comfortably. But Tim Hardaway is good, though. And then Alonzo Mourning, who was one of the best centers of his generation. Damn. I know which direction I'm leaning, but I want to see what direction you guys are leaning. I mean, then you have Grant Hill, though. Pistons beat the Heat in real life. Let's see. Not a single vote? I think I would have voted the Heat, but I'm shocked that there wasn't a single vote for the Pistons. Okay. Bulls versus Magic. All right, Magic. It's fun. The Shaq and Dwight Howard 4-5 duo, the Twin Towers. That's fun, but it's over for them. Bulls move on comfortably. Spurs and Nuggets. So the Nuggets have a good team. The Nuggets have a good all-time team. Obviously headlined by Nikola Jokic, but the Spurs just top to bottom. Just stupidly stacked. How did the Nuggets get more votes in this matchup than the Pistons did? Nuggets low-key? I don't think there's an argument to be made. Like, the Spurs have the better player all time in Tim Duncan. Now, maybe someday Jokic can change that. All right, let's move on. Some heavy hitter rounds here. Get your votes in. From here on out, it's only bangers. It's only bangers. Lakers versus Rockets all time. The Rockets have a great team. Like they do. They have a great all-time team. Hakeem, Moses Malone, James Harden. But it's not beating the Lakers. Let's get serious. Warriors versus Bucks. Okay. So I have an opinion. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. So Golden State, Hall of Famers up and down. Steph Curry, maybe the greatest point guard of all time. Chris Mullin, slept on, incredible bucket getter. Rick Barry, underrated player. KD wasn't there a long time, but was there for a good time. And then Wilt Chamberlain when he was averaging 50 points per game. Now, you could argue Wilt Chamberlain's going to have the ball in his hand so much. Wilt's going to have the ball in his hand so often that it's going to fuck with the rest of the team. Milwaukee, you have Oscar Robertson, Sidney Moncrief, Ray Allen, Giannis, and Kareem. Oh my God. So the Bucks have the best player, in my opinion, in Kareem. Yeah. Warriors got all but one vote. All right, let's Akari, let's hear it. What's the Bucks argument? It's a pretty good one. Like, their team's pretty good, but the Warriors have more firepower, I feel like. But and this wasn't peak of his powers. Oscar Robertson. Curry would be open every time. They double Wilt. Warriors win. Wilt's got to be able to pass, though. That's the thing. Wilt's got to pass the ball. Celtics versus Heat. In my brain, if this game actually happened, I feel like it'd be close. Closer than people would think. Bob Cousy, Paul Pierce, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. Jesus Christ. But, like, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, LeBron, Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway. I mean, it's the Celtics, but it's a fun matchup. What? Oh, I thought that was 5-5. Okay. I see the direction this is headed in for the Celtics, by the way. I see the direction this is headed in for them. Bulls versus Spurs. Damn. Ooh. Okay. Let's talk about it. So, obviously, the Bulls have the greatest player of all time. I feel like, in my head, the Spurs have the next 2 to 3 better players. You have MJ, but then you have Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and let's Scottie Pippen or Kawhi Leonard. Let's have an honest discussion. Oh, I did spell Pippen wrong. All right, just ignore it. I actually thought is this going to be a sweep? Well, the Spurs do win. I thought going into this, I'd have the Bulls in my championship, by the way. But now that we think about it, like D Rose had the higher peak than Tony Parker, clearly. Winning MVP. But Tony Parker had the longevity. MJ clearly better than George Gervin. Scottie Pippen and was Kawhi really better than Scottie? This is Spurs Kawhi. Like peak Kawhi was with the Raptors. Tim Duncan, obviously better than Dennis Rodman. David Robinson, obviously better than Artis Gilmore. Huh. Yeah, I mean, okay. All right, Final Four. Here we go. Lakers versus Warriors. Lakers versus Warriors. I don't see a world in which the Lakers don't. Like, Golden State is so stupid stacked. With Steph, Chris Mullin, Rick Barry, KD, Wilt Chamberlain. But my God, the Lakers are just so stupid, dude. Magic, Jerry West, Kobe, Elgin Baylor, and Shaq, and Hakeem Olajuwon as a Rodman did play for the Spurs. That's true. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, James Worthy, George Mikan, Wilt. All of these guys honorable mentions. The Lakers comfortably. All right. Rodman finished his career with the Mavericks. This much is true. Okay. No way Kareem's an honorable mention. Where would you put him? I mean, it's between him or Shaq. Don't be fooled on the hype. Pillsbury Doughboy is still a fat slob and slower than molasses. Now, you know, I've never been a Pillsbury guy. So, like, you know, I always thought their cinnamon rolls were overrated. So, I'll agree with you on that one. Who did Dallas lose to? Dallas should have lost in the first round, but you guys voted them over Oklahoma City Thunder / Seattle Supersonics, which is a crime against humanity. But they did end up losing to the Golden State Warriors. Boston Celtics, San Antonio Spurs. If the Spurs don't have the best player, it's neck and neck between Bill Russell and Tim Duncan. Oh my God. Is it gonna be, I'm thinking about it more. Is it gonna be Celtics and Lakers? I was wanting it to not be, but I kind of think it has to be. So Bob Cousy, Paul Pierce, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, and Bill Russell. Bill Russell, Larry Bird, both top 10 players of all time. Right? John Havlicek, really good. Paul Pierce, great. Bob Cousy, great. I think that's just a little bit more firepower than what the Spurs have. Like, I mean, David Robinson, so peak, right? Because by the time Tim Duncan was in the league, David Robinson was older. But peak Tim Duncan and peak David Robinson as your twin towers is disgusting. Both guys can score. Both guys, great rebounders. Both guys, obviously, two of the better defenders of all time. Then you have Kawhi Leonard as your three, who, this is like in-game peak Kawhi Leonard before he got traded. An insane defender in his own right. Top 3 in MVP voting in his last year. One of the best scorers ever. 4-time scoring champ. And then Tony Parker, Hall of Famer, Finals MVP. Fuck it, man. No, yeah, that fit is insane, actually. That's like the best fit we've seen out of any of these all-time teams where you have to like squeeze, like pigeonhole guys into certain positions to get them on there. That fit is seamless. Oh my God, Jesus. My opinion didn't matter either way. And now we have the final, Lakers versus Spurs. There's just no way it's not the Lakers, dude. I'm like, it was a great run by the Spurs, though. I actually thought it'd be the Bulls. I actually thought it was going to be the Bulls whenever I was making this. I thought it'd be Bulls versus Lakers in the finals. But, man, that Spurs team is actually insanely stacked. Magic, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, Elgin Baylor, Shaq. So the interesting thing would have been if it were the Celtics, right? Well done, dude. Worth it for the viewers like me. Love your channel. Thank you. I love doing these. Brackets are fun. So if it was Lakers versus Celtics, right? Magic is a top 10 player of all time. Kobe, top 10 player of all time. Shaq. And fuck it, I'll throw... Okay, Shaq, top 10 player of all time. Kareem, top 10 player of all time. LeBron, top 10 player of all time. So there's five guys right there in the top 10 of all time. And then with the Celtics, you have Bill Russell, who's in the top 10 of all time, and Larry Bird. So 7 of the 10 top 10 all-time players would be involved in this matchup. That's insane. So the Lakers win. They win the all-time bracket. The all-time bracket. This was a fun one. Future bracket, best Olympic performance of all time. I'm trying to think what I want to do for my next bracket. I'm waiting for my good friend Steven, aka NBA University, to drop his best offensive player bracket. We've already done the best defensive player. I'm ready for the best offensive player bracket. I'm about to hit him up and see when we're gonna do that. Best European player bracket. It's like that one's gonna require so much research on my part. I like the best offensive player bracket because it's already made for me. So our final 8 teams were the Lakers and Rockets, Warriors and Bucks, Celtics and Heat, Bulls and Spurs. I feel like that tracks. The Pistons losing in round 2 is a little bit nuts. Best basketball Olympic performance? That feels like that would make more sense like right before the Olympics. A world versus US bracket? Wouldn't that just be a best player in the league bracket? Best player of all time bracket? That would be fun. If I did a best player of all time bracket, I would randomize the order. So we could get like MJ versus LeBron in round 2. That would be fun. I'll keep that one in the memory. All right, let me tweet out a screenshot of this. I feel like you guys did a good job. So I think the hardest matchup out of all of them was actually Sixers and Rockets. That was the hardest one. Mike Hawk, 10 months at the Slightly Delusional Club. Appreciate the content. I appreciate you, Mike. Mavs vs. Thunder was going to be slandered to all hell and back. Trust me, I know. Went through every team in the NBA and made their all-time best starting 5. My chat then voted on who had the best team. Here are the results. Maybe have some kind of redemption opportunity for top players like MJ, LeBron, Kobe, etc. if they go out early and have a chance to come back somehow if we vote for that or chat wants. Gotta go to work. All right, peace out, Christian. Pistons Shocking early exit. Spurs upset the Celtics. Best defender of all time bracket. We'll figure some stuff out. Like all time, like blah, blah, blah of all time brackets take like an absurd amount of research compared to like who's the best player, offensive player in the NBA today. Okay, fine. I can do that easily right now. Lakers dominate. Rockets / 76ers, the closest matchup. Thoughts? Opinions? That was fun, guys. That was fun. I know that the streaming schedule is wonky and all over the place right now. I get it. I know. But we'll soon be back. To like a regular program. I still don't know what I'm going to do for the World Cup. I don't know if I want to stream these games or what. I'll figure something out. But I am going to stream on I am going to stream on Friday. I just don't know if it's going to be for the World Cup yet or if we're going to do a PowerPoint stream. But we'll figure something out. All right. That's it for me. We're getting closer. Slowly but surely, we are getting closer to the NBA season starting. What's the new video you've been planning on releasing? It's coming out tomorrow. About a player who has been grossly underrated and overhated over the last few years. Uh-huh. Take a guess who it is. It's going to be a big video, so make sure you gas it up whenever it drops. Thank you guys for coming out. All the OGs, you guys know I love you very much. Could have spent your Wednesday afternoon anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys will not regret it. Schedule's a little bit wonky right now, but as we get closer to the season, and then once the season starts, we're going right into it. And then donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye-bye.